Ah, child, when I say I had a hidden $35 million inheritance, you must understand it wasn't something I stumbled upon like coins under a cushion. No, it was the fruit of a long life years of labor, wise choices, and blessings that came when I least expected them. Life never gave me riches in my youth. My pockets were empty, my hands blistered from work, and my shoes worn thin from walking. But God, in His own time, placed fortune in my lap when age had already painted my hair silver. It came through family land, passed down quietly, acres that once looked worthless to others. They laughed at my stubbornness to hold on to it, but I kept it safe. And when the world changed, when cities grew and men came offering gold for dirt, that old land turned into treasure. Papers signed, deals made. Suddenly I was worth more than I could ever spend in 10 lifetimes. 35 million, child, a number that makes people's eyes grow wide and their hearts grow greedy. But do you think I ran to tell everyone? No. I folded that secret deep in my chest. I still wore my plain shawl, still sat in my modest kitchen, and still ate bread and tea as though nothing had changed. Even my own son, the boy I carried on my hip, never knew. Not because I did not love him, but because I had lived long enough to know how money can twist people's hearts, how it can turn laughter into arguments and blood into strangers. I lived quietly with that secret, child. Sometimes at night, I would sit by the window and think of all the things that money could buy. Big houses, shiny cars, diamonds to wear. But then I would smile to myself because I already had what mattered, a roof over my head, food on my table, and peace in my soul. So yes, I had a $35 million inheritance, but it was hidden, tucked away like a pearl deep in the sea. And not a single soul around me knew, for silence, I learned, can guard treasure better than any lock or key. Ah, child, when my son got married, the whole world around me seemed to sparkle. The house was filled with music, the clinking of glasses, the rustle of new clothes, and the sweet smell of flowers. Everyone was busy with chatter, with laughter, with dreams for the young couple, and me. I sat quietly, my hands folded on my lap, my heart both proud and cautious. I watched my son, tall and handsome in his suit, the boy I once held in my arms now stepping into manhood. Oh, how my heart swelled with pride. But right beside that pride lived a quiet voice whispering, "Stay silent." For though I had riches tucked away, 35 million in inheritance, I kept that truth locked in my chest. Not a word, not a hint slipped from my lips. You see, weddings are strange times, child. They bring out joy, yes, but also envy, greed, and hidden intentions. I watched my new daughter-in-law move through the crowd with her painted smile, her eyes sharp like a hawk scanning for shiny things. She was beautiful, no doubt, but beauty alone cannot hide a hungry heart. I saw how her family's whispers always circled back to money, how their laughter carried the weight of questions unspoken. So I chose silence. I offered prayers instead of jewels and blessings instead of checks. My gift was wrapped in words of wisdom, not in gold. Some might have thought me stingy, but I knew better. Once you speak of money, child, the warmth of family can cool into the chill of transactions. I clapped for the dances, I smiled for the photographs, and I cheered when they cut the cake. All the while, my secret fortune sat untouched, hidden like a pearl in the deepest ocean. My son thought I was just a simple old mother, living quietly on her pension, happy with little, and I let him think so. Because that day was his day, not mine, and my silence, though heavy, was my shield. Sometimes, child, the greatest gift you can give at a wedding is not gold or silver, but restraint, so love can reveal its true face without money blinding it. Ah, child, they say the eyes are windows to the soul, and I believe that with all my heart. A smile can fool you, sweet words can charm you, but the eyes, they cannot hide what sits deep inside, And on the very day my son was married, I looked into my new daughter in law's eyes and saw something that made my old heart grow heavy. It was not love, not softness, not the shy sparkle of a bride. It was hunger, a hunger not for my son's embrace, but for what she believed might come with him. She smiled at me. Oh yes, her lips curved just right, her voice sweet as honey. She took my hand and pressed it between hers as if she were showing affection. But her eyes, child, her eyes betrayed her. They darted to the gifts piled high, lingered on the jewelry worn by guests, and searched the corners of the room as though wealth might be hiding in the very walls. When her gaze fell on me, it was not the look of a daughter seeing her new mother, but of a merchant sizing up what treasure might be gained. All evening I watched her closely. She leaned near my son, whispering in his ear, but her eyes kept scanning, weighing, and calculating. When she laughed with her family, their whispers always circled back to money. Who had given what, who owned what, and who should contribute more. Not once did I see her eyes soften with the warmth of pure love. It pained me, child, because I wanted so badly to welcome her into my heart as my own daughter. I prayed that maybe I was mistaken, that maybe my old eyes were reading too much. But no, each time our gazes met, I saw it again, that sharp, restless gleam, like someone who has tasted wealth in their dreams, and is now desperate to claim it in reality. That was when I thanked God for my silence. For had I spoken of the inheritance, those 35 million hidden away, those greedy eyes would have widened, and I might have lost not only my fortune, but also my son's peace. Sometimes, child, what you see in a person's eyes can tell you the story their mouth will never confess. Ah, child, it did not take long for the cracks to show. A wedding is filled with roses and ribbons, but once the music fades and the guests go home, real life begins. And within just a few weeks, the sound in their home was not laughter, but sharp voices raised in quarrel. What were they quarreling over? Not love, not dreams, not children. No, child. They quarreled over property and money. It started small. I heard whispers when I visited, questions about who owned the little house my son had lived in before the marriage. Then came remarks about how things should be in both names and how fairness meant signing papers and shifting deeds. My son's shoulders grew tense, his brow furrowed deeper each day. The joy in his eyes dimmed little by little. One evening, I heard them through the thin walls as I poured myself tea. My daughter-in-law's voice was sharp as a knife. Your parents must have something. Old people don't just live on nothing. Don't you think it's time they help us start our future? My son tried to soothe her, but soon his voice rose too, frustration spilling out. The argument turned to what they had, what they didn't, who deserved more, and who owed what. Child, do you know what it feels like to stand in your own home and hear your son's marriage shake under the weight of greed? It is like watching a storm tear at a young tree you planted with your own hands. I pressed my hand against my chest to steady my heart, but inside I was thanking God I had kept my secret hidden. For if they argued this way over small things, property, bank accounts, family gifts, what would have happened if they knew about 35 million? Their voices echoed with bitterness, not love. And though I prayed for peace, I knew then that silence had been my strongest shield. Money, child, can build houses, but it cannot build hearts. And when hearts grow hungry for it, even the strongest walls cannot keep out the storm. Ah, child, when I look back now, I can only lift my wrinkled hands to the heavens and whisper, "Thank God I kept silent. My fortune stayed safe." For had I opened my mouth, had I let one careless word slip about the inheritance, my life, and my son's too, would have been swallowed whole by greed. You see, silence is a heavy thing. It sits on your tongue like a stone. Many times I wanted to tell my boy to ease his burdens, to let him know his old mother was not as poor as she looked. I wanted to see his face light up, to hear him say, "Mama, we'll be all right now." But each time the words rose in my throat, I swallowed them back down. Something inside me said, "Not yet, not now." And then, when the quarrels began, when property and money became the sharp knives cutting through their marriage, I understood why my heart had kept me quiet. That fortune of mine, those $35 million, would not have been a blessing. No, child, it would have been a curse, a magnet for greed, a reason for fights, a rope to bind me into their troubles. My son would have been pulled into battles he never asked for, and I, an old woman, would have been drained of peace. But because I kept silent, my treasure slept safe, untouched, hidden away where no greedy hand could reach. My life continued simply: bread, tea, and a warm shawl around my shoulders. No one suspected, no one questioned. And as I watched their marriage struggle under the weight of wanting more, I thanked God again and again that my fortune was not tossed into that storm. Sometimes, child, wisdom is not in giving, but in withholding. Love is not always shown through money, but through patience and silence. And silence, though heavy, became my shield. My fortune stayed safe, my soul stayed at peace, and my son. One day he will learn that true riches are not counted in dollars, but in the strength of a heart that loves without condition.